on to day 9 of How to Increase Your Donor Base in 20 Days. Leo and I are here on the front porch of our home office in Hickory, North Carolina. And today we're going to talk about not asking in a letter when you have a relationship with someone. If you are going to send out a mass email and you're maybe doing an acquisition mailing, or you're doing one of your regular donor touches through direct mail, then those things are fine. But if you have a relationship with someone and you have never asked them for a gift individually, face-to-face, in person, or even over the phone, the first time you make an ask, you don't want that to be in a letter. I actually had this happen to me recently. There is an organization that I know of, and I know the staff, I know the people in all of the leadership positions and see them on a pretty regular basis, but have never been asked to make a gift to their organization. And I ended up getting a letter in the mail that was sort of generic, and I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming it was probably sent to a large number of their donors. And it was the first time they had ever made an ask to me. And I was kind of shocked, but I was also wondering why they didn't just pick up the phone and ask me, or ask me in person, or set up a time to talk to me and ask me in person. It's very impersonal. So if you're trying to acquire new donors and you're doing a direct mail piece specifically for that purpose, then that's a different situation. If you're working with someone and you have a relationship with them but you've never asked them for a gift, you need to plan to do that in person. That is going to increase the likelihood that someone's going to say yes to you, and it's also going to increase the likelihood of building a relationship with that person. I can tell you that the letter that I received, I read and then put in the trash, recycling bin, because I'm waiting on that personal ask. And if they do make that ask, I will make a gift. But if they don't, then I probably won't, because that is how you build a relationship with an individual donor and get them to stay. So I encourage you, as you figure out, we talked about making a plan, we talked about figuring out what your ideal donor profile is, we talked about identifying your low-hanging fruit and going after those individuals. We've talked about a lot of different ideas, but as you do those, I encourage you to think about what is the best way to get in front of this person and what is the best way to make an ask. Sometimes I meet individuals who are really busy. Maybe they travel a lot, maybe they're the head of a company, maybe they just have so much on their plate that they don't have a lot of time to make room for a new person to take to lunch, or a new person to meet for coffee, or all of those things. There is a way to get in and talk with that person, whether it's going to them, or taking lunch to their office, or asking for 10 minutes of their time on the phone, or going somewhere you know they're going to be and asking, could I have 10 minutes of your time after your morning swim, or something that is convenient for that person. There are ways to get in front of them. That means that's a little bit of work on our part as development staff or the people that are asking for money, but that's part of the job. Part of the job is figuring out how to get people to say yes and what will be most comfortable and easy for them. So I encourage you to think about that as you go towards making new asks, and also sit down and think, who have I not asked that I interact with on a regular basis in relation to my role at this job? Not just neighbors and people in the community who probably have no connection to the organization that you're trying to raise money for, but who have I interacted with regularly that I've never made an ask to? Maybe it's a vendor. Maybe it's the company that services your copying machine. I remember when I was at the YMCA, I sat down, one day I did that very same thing. I said, who in this organization has not been giving? And I said, okay, the guy that does our taxes, the guy that is a consultant for this thing, the company that handles our copiers, because we had lots of branches, we had lots of copiers, and no one had been making an ask to some of these people. Who provides us with certain services that we aren't providing in-house, and how do I get in front of those people? Who provides our insurance? We have multiple insurances, and a lot of times insurance companies actually have grant cycles or foundations that they give money to organizations they support for safety initiatives, like people that are putting in an AED, or people that are providing training for staff on some kind of safety protocol or whatever. So there's grants out there in lots and lots of organizations that you might not have thought of before. I work with a ballet school, a nonprofit ballet school, and when I sit down and think about them, and we did some research a couple of years back, I said, who makes the beautiful costumes that we purchase? Who are the major companies that do point shoes? Who are the major companies that make ballet bars or provide mirrors for studios or create marley floor for the dancers to be able to dance safely? Who are all these companies? Because they're probably wanting to support, if they have a foundation, studios or individual artists, potentially in training students or professionals, that are in the field in which they create product for. And so then we started looking to see who has grants available, who could we write to, because we had a couple of needs within the studio. So I encourage you to sit down and think in that frame of mind, and then pick up the phone or meet someone in person before you write a cold call letter to an organization or an individual asking them for support. So this has been day 9 of How to Grow Your Donor Base in 20 Days. My name is Mandy Pierce. I'm the owner of Funding for Good. Thank you for joining us. If you have time, please click the subscribe button on YouTube so you can get our videos on a regular basis, and follow us on Facebook at Funding for Good. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.